All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is your favorite dark sorcerer here. And tonight, I want to talk to you about why is Magia Negra, Negra so important. Okay, why is it important? First of all, you got to understand what black magic is and what it can do. So, why don't I start off about why I wanted to do this video? Men like gods, welcome to the channel. So, I was on the national news channel, which is an app that you can get on your cell phone, just kind of going around seeing what's out there. And I'm kind of getting ready for my last week within Duncan, okay, because I'm getting ready to go to a new job, one that's going to pay more, number one, and number two, a place that treats their employees better, okay? Now, I find it ironic because this lady right here on this app, this one right here, okay, went to a Dunkin' out in California, okay, and I want to kind of give you this example. A deaf woman says she was refused service at Dunkin'. My heart sank, okay. Shannon, I'm not even going to pronounce her last name because I will probably butcher it. Um, but she says went viral on TikTok after sharing two videos where she talked about being denied service in the strain of the pandemic. Okay. She said, I felt it was important that I speak up so people can understand how exhausting it's been during this pandemic. Okay. So basically, the article is by Carrie Breen. That's Breen. Okay. And she says that Shannon, a deaf woman in California, shared two videos on TikTok after she said she was denied service at Dunkin' because she was unable to communicate with staff. Okay? The videos went viral and brought new attention to the struggles of people who are deaf or hard of hearing during the pandemic. Okay? Which is a good thing. I mean, this is something that needs to be addressed anyways. But you'll get in a minute why I'm doing this video. She says, who uses a cochlear implement and reads lips, told today Food that she was driving for Uber when she decided to stop into a local Dunkin' to get a drink between rides. When she entered the establishment, she had her mask on. But when she approached the counter, she could not hear the employee who was standing behind plexiglass. When I got to the front, I pulled my mask down and just let the employee know really quick, "Hi, I'm deaf. How do we do this?" And I pulled the mask back up. And I was ready to order. And she said in the video interview, she waved to call over her manager. Basically the employee, said called over her team lead or upper management. A couple minutes go by and I try to reach over to her to let and say, "Hey, I have to go. Can I just place my order?" And it goes on from there that the manager came over and began speaking to her, but she could not understand him because of their masks, the plexiglass, and the distance between them. And the other ambient noise in the shop, like music and coffee machines. She basically told the manager, I'm deaf, I can't hear you. Okay. And basically, to make a story short, the manager and the staff was douchebags. Okay. So, as an employee of Dunkin', I worked through the pandemic. Okay. Through the shutdown, everything. All right. I didn't take any time off. I didn't go underneath the voluntary, you know, unemployment status or anything. My better half is a CNA. She worked through the pandemic. Okay. Now, I've had customers come in who are mute, they can't speak. I've had customers come in that are hard of hearing. I've had customers come in that use that little device that they place against their throat to speak. But I've also had customers come in that are complete dicks. Okay. Now, oh, that's good to know, men like gods. Thanks. I've never actually pronounced it before, so that was actually a good learning experience for me. So, anyways, as I was saying, anyways, you take your time. You're trained to put the customer's needs before, the company's. All right. Namely, if they're in a wheelchair, you go out and you open up the door for them. If they're in a wheelchair, you actually take the drinks out to them, or the meal. Okay. So this is how Dunkin' employees are supposed to be. But here's the kicker: this isn't 2006 anymore. Sadly enough, even former employees have said that this company used to be based off family, and now it's based off this, the almighty dollar. Okay. And it's interesting to see how they treat their employees. Now, if they treat their employees like this, and they treat the employees like this, or not the employees, but the customers like this, it's basically a shell game. It is what they call role playing. Hey, welcome to Duncan. How can I help you? How can I be of service? When in actuality, it's fuck off. We don't really want you here. Okay. And they're really picky on who they allow indoors. We had a guy that was homeless. Okay. We had a guy that was homeless, and he lived in a homeless shelter. He brought McDonald's in and was sitting at a table. He wasn't bothering anyone. And the team lead went over and kicked him out of the store just because she didn't like the way that he looked. A customer complained because he wasn't eating with his mouth closed. This is how petty people are today. In the old days, it would have been, sure, we'll bring that rate out. Okay, we'll remake it for you. They'd actually take the time to listen to the customer. Like I said, I've had people come in wheelchairs. I've had people that can't speak. All I do is I look in the general direction of where they're pointing, and I point to each single item on the board until, or in the donut case, until I find what they're looking at. Okay? Very simplistic, very easy to do. And it's funny because the customers give me tips. They give very few tips to certain individuals. Okay? The ones they like. And it's very interesting to see because I had a customer just this past Wednesday when she found out that I had put my 2 weeks in. I was getting done with Duncan, starting my new job on the 5th. Okay? The upper management suddenly just separated, just suddenly don't want anything to do with you anymore. This one customer said she would pay me $2 a day. $2 a day. She was willing to pay me if I stayed. You see, that's the difference between most of these morons that work for these companies and those who actually give a damn about the public. We're the ones that take the brunt of the abuse. Okay? So, not all employees are like this manager or that employee, that cashier. Okay? To that deaf woman. When they find somebody that they like, they won't go to anyone else. They will go to you directly. They will ask if you are cashiering or if you are working that day. And if you're not, they won't even stick around. Most people that go through the line don't want to deal with you, but they will come in when somebody they like is there. When you listen to what they have to say, when you listen to how they want their items made, they remember you, especially if you remember them when they are regulars. Sometimes you'll remember them if you haven't seen them in a blue moon. Hey, are you getting this today as well? Do you want this as well? And it's like, well, how do you remember this? You know what I'm saying? When you remember your customers, they remember you. Okay? But as men like God's so colorfully put, customer service is a thing of the past. And it's interesting because I was getting ready to, to clean up because I got to go back to work tomorrow. And I was reading this article and I was thinking about it while I was in the shower. And it's like, do you know why magic is considered the balancing factor within just about any tradition of witchcraft? Because it brings justice to those who have been wronged. Okay. And I want you to think about this. In Mexican brujeria or South American brujeria, Magia Negra, Negra, meaning black magic, okay, is a method that is employed within three different structures, kind of like what Satanism is within theirs: lust, compassion, and destruction. Okay, bindings, domination, and curses. Okay, three different types of rituals. They can be broken down into dozens, if not more, independent rituals. Okay, so I was thinking about this, and my last job, my manager, my store manager, wronged me, lied to my face for an entire month. And it's a good thing I didn't move because I wouldn't have had a job once I got down there. I would have been broke. I would not have been able to do anything. I probably would have had to have lived out of my car until I got the job down there in Louisiana. Okay. So I ended up, before I put my 2 weeks in, and I found out that he had lied because I ended up calling the store manager directly down in Louisiana. That's how I found out that my store manager lied to me and had been lying to me for an entire month. I pulled up a grist bag and cursed him. You want to know how bad it got? This went from a $7 million company, and this is the central hub of Tractor Supply in this region, down into the thousands. Not the millions, the thousands. They couldn't even get people as employees. It got so bad that the store manager that I had cursed literally threw his hands up and walked away. And ironically, the same district manager named Karen, okay, it was funny because of the fact that to this day, she wouldn't, even if I filled out an application to go back to Tractor Supply, she would not take me. She would reject it, which goes against the no retaliation clause of that company. Okay, which is hilarious. So about a week ago, I was into Tractor Supply with my better half and my son, and the team lead looked at me and said, "Hey, by the way, Karen's leaving in a week." Basically saying, "Hey, come on back," you know, because she's the only thing keeping me out of that company. Okay, but here's the thing: I have no intention of going back to that company. So anyways, so here we are, about 3 to 4 years in the future. There we go. I was getting done with Duncan. Okay, like I said, next week is my my last week. I start my new job on the 5th. Okay, so over the last couple of years, my boss has had a heart attack, triple bypass. They've lost so many employees that it makes smallpox look like an amateur. Okay, and it's funny because of the fact that now my boss, my current boss, has shut down numerous different stores, either temporarily or because they have nobody to run them. A month ago, when I first put my 2 weeks in, both the store owner and the district manager came to me and said, "Hey, we understand you put your 2 weeks in. Is it because we transferred this individual over? We didn't know you wanted to move up in the company." It's like bullshit. Okay, these are the games that these people play. As they say, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the fire. Okay, except for they don't take the time to get to know their employees. They have Christians working for them. They have Wiccans and pagans. Wiccans and pagans will just take it up the ass. Okay? They will just take it up the ass. Why? It's that whole law of three thing, threefold law of return. What we don't want to hurt you because we don't want to curse your ass because it may come back on us and blah 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 blah. Well, let's see. The threefold law was created by Gerald Gardner, 1974. Okay, nothing before that. Karma, yeah, it's a bitch. It really is. But as a black magician, a sorcerer, or sorceress, you have the power to speed up that karma. In Brujeria, the Treba or was it Treba Joes, are much like a mojo bag, a griscris bag, or an effigy of some sort. Okay? These can be utilized for spells, where you can utilize symbology, okay, where you can use a number of different ingredients. Over the last week, I have learned how to make scorpion oil and toad oil. Okay, and this is out of Brujeria witchcraft, and very, very insightful, very potent stuff, very toxic, which is why you need the gloves. Okay, but here's the thing: if you think about the various different types of practices, say for an example, in let's go with voodoo, you have the eggshell powder that is sprinkled across your doorway, your front steps, where you have to walk over it. You have a griscris bag with rare elements, with seals and perhaps even bones, ground bones, or just plain little bones that are placed in it. Things that have your symbolatry, such as your lock of hair, something you've partially eaten that has your saliva on it. See, this is old school. Okay, even condom wrapper, a condom that's been used can be utilized to link a spell to you. The same thing with a maxi pad because it's linked to you. If you're really good at black magic and you know what you're doing, you could easily create a spell right there. My ASM has seen me numerous times amp up thunderstorms just for shits and giggles. Things just to amuse myself with because I can. Plus, I know that she's afraid of it. I mean, who the hell's afraid of fucking thunder and lightning? Seriously. A little rain doesn't hurt anybody, but there it is. Okay? My own boss, like I said, he's more interested in running a business than about reputation. The reason he's not getting employees is not because of the labor funds that were out there, okay, that ended back on the 11th. Now, you see, all his past employees have gone out and spread the word. You don't want to work for this guy. Why? This, and this is how he does things. This is how they run their stores. I mean, when you get somebody right out of high school and you make them a team lead compared to somebody who's been there for, say, 15 years, 14 years, it took one guy 7 years as an employee before he earned the respect enough that he was literally promoted to team lead. 14 years total. And he finally looked at his boss and said, "Fuck you, I'm gone." They never promoted him higher. Again, the whole taking it up the ass thing. Okay? Now, what's interesting is that I've had employees go through the store, even customers, and all of a sudden it's like a chill just went up their spine, like they walked over their own grave. Birds have literally slammed into the glass. Grasshoppers literally sitting on the glass. moths and caterpillars outside the window when I'm cashiering. Less than a quarter mile away is a store called Weeby's. I went in there one night and about 400 birds surrounded that place. I'm talking blackbirds. The girl's out there with a camera recording it, saying, "This is insane. This is insane. I've never seen this many." And I looked at her and I said, "As soon as I leave, they'll be gone." I went in the next night and they asked me to leave because it freaked them out. Because exactly what I said transpired. Okay? Their boss was sitting there at a table when I said it. Okay? This is corporate America for you. Hell, it's not just corporate America, it's world over. Money is the new importance. Okay? So, black magic, when you learn to do spells at certain intervals as you're going into that dooryard, at an entrance, perhaps even the lobby doors, the vestibule, or even right there at the window, as you're doing the sign of an inverted pentagram or some other symbol, and you're speaking those whispers, that curse. People don't think too much of it until all of a sudden it's like, why why are we running on a skeleton crew? Why are we running tirelessly, outgunned, outmatched? I mean, you think about it, you got maybe 6 to 8 people on staff. You should have 10 people in the morning and about 6 people in the afternoon and into the night. They have no afternoon crew. They have no closers. They've shut down at least 3, 4 stores already. They still have not learned to start treating their employees with respect. They have not learned to listen to their customers. You look at how fast they switch the brands around. Why are you getting rid of something that is popular? The customers keep reordering numerous times a day. And they're spending their entire paychecks on this shit. And these people higher up go, "Oh, we're going to switch this out. It's the end of the season. We're going to go over to this." Or all of a sudden it's, "Oh, we're just going to discontinue it." Again, how many complaints have you had? You're sitting there claiming to read the polls when your stores are most active. Then if you're doing that, then you should have already read the notes from your own customers. You see, that's common sense, right? Employers don't do that anymore. It's all about the almighty dollar. Okay? When you go into your workplace, just for shits and giggles, kind of walk around a little bit, go outside your comfort zone of the way you normally would walk to. Do you feel that coldness at one spot, or maybe a few spots throughout the floor? Have you ever looked at the glass and all of a sudden seen like something's breathing on the other side of the glass. I had an apprentice I haven't spoken to in a while, former employee, brother and friend. He's into lycanthropy. He was looking at the glass, and it was all fogged up. Nowhere else on the floor. No other glass part was fogged, but you could clearly, visibly see the breathing of the inhale and exhale, something on the other side of the door, inside the vestibule. A friend of my better house was sitting on the couch in the next room, and she felt breathing on her back of her neck. You see, the spirit dog, the black dog, the hellhound, is very real for those who know how to control them, to manifest them, and to use them. They're protectors, they're guides, just like a demon. But a black magician knows how to utilize their resources, either through grist bags with a photo of their target, perhaps herbalism, cursing jar, something small that is easily hidden. And if you're really good, all you need is the impression, the will, placing your hand out, looking at that location, and just speaking the curse. That's all it is. And it's going to keep amplifying until they learn. Some employers learn, some people learn, which is why the curse, the hex, relinquishes its control. But once you've flung a curse, it's out of your hands. What will happen is going to happen. The question is, are you going to learn to the point where justice is served, or is it going to keep eating away at you to the point of death, to the point where you lose everything and eventually it strikes at you? See, that's painful sorcery right there. In a nutshell, you want to know why people go to a brewer or a brew, a witch or a warlock, a bokor or a caplata? It's because we have the balls to cast spells. We do not give two shits if it's right or wrong, because you as the client are paying for it, which means if anything backfires, it's not going to go on us. It's going on you. When you go to a sorcerer or sorceress and you say, hey, I want to do a curse, I want to hire you to do a curse, but yet you're going to waste our time when you get the price, wow, there's a cost to everything. Those who are truly up to the task of accepting that responsibility, they're more prepared than you because you're dancing around thinking it's a quick fix. You have no idea what baneful sorcery can do. I've seen firsthand what it can do. Years ago, I had an adoptive daughter that I took underneath my wing. She dragged me into an argument. Wrong day, wrong time. And all I did was just type out the curse. The guy was dead in less than 12 hours. She was running scared. She's now a Christian. She used to be a Satanist. I've seen Wiccans turn Baptist, and I've seen Catholics turn Wiccan, all because of sorcery. They've had that one defining moment, that one defining moment. They will either send them running with their tails between their legs, or they will get serious and delve further in to explore that current. Why does it work? How does it work? Each system has a different perspective. Wiccans and pagans use salt as a purifying agent. In Brujeria, it could be used as a curse. Just saying. You say potato, I say potato. You see the point. But when you've been wronged and you're truly seeking justice because the legal system has denied you that right, when all else has failed you, and you finally go to a sorcerer and they make that injustice go bye bye and bring justice to you, at that point, it's an awakening factor. On one hand, you're either going to go and go, oh my God, black magic is real. Careful what you say and do, who you associate with. Or B, they're going to go out and spread the word about you. You take me for an example. I've had people tell me they don't know whether I'm going to curse them or I'm going to bless them. I've made a reputation where I'm highly feared and I'm highly respected. I know my shit. I know my craft. And even my teachers. A teacher once told me that I'm very good at creations. It's true. Because when I create a spell, it's from nothing. And I put it to use against my enemies. Call it personal gain. Call it justice. Call it an education. It's your choice. But when everything has failed you, I want you to remember that Magia Negra is a real viable solution. I had a customer come to me earlier this year, paid me to do a spell. It was a minor spell, a little bit of a payment. She came to me the next morning and said that the guy looked pale. He had lost the lead in his pencil. And it's very interesting. I've had others I pointed in the right direction. I have one that's a returning customer. I have another that will come to me just to ask advice. And it's interesting because the one that comes to me asking for advice is doing the same thing I do to my elders, to my teachers. Now, you think about that for just a minute. I've been doing this for a little bit over 30 years. 30 years of practice, study, and complete 100, scratch that, I'm going to use a term that my brother John Saunders used. 666% dedication, commitment, and owning that shit with conviction. I don't play around with magic or sorcery. If I do sorcery, it's one of two things: personal gain and or retribution. If I do it for a client, it's for them. I don't care what their backstory is. They're paying me to do a job, and I do that job. The lady in that exploit was clearly wrong. Not only did the company not take responsibility, but the justice system denied her as well. Now, if she had gone to somebody like myself or some other black magician, I guarantee it that injustice would have been made right. But I want you to remember this: black magic is real, it's viable, and it works. It's not something you want to kick or poke like a bear because it will fuck you up. Respect it. It's like working with spirits. Spirits are invoked, demons of various different kinds. The old gods are utilized, invoked. I want you to remember that. Anytime you get in the ring, you're risking becoming bloodied. Remember that. I want to thank men like gods and Lord Zaluk 666 for jumping on here with me, along with Ank Afro Mixed Root Witch. I want to thank you guys for jumping on here with me. Hope you've learned something. And for those of you who are watching or and haven't commented, for those of you who are seeking justice, seeking answers, maybe you're going through something and you're tired of the same old bullshit. Maybe it's time to seek out answers. Maybe get into a system of sorcery that will benefit you. Maybe have a consultation with a dark sorcerer. I can recommend several right off the bat. Some of you may not agree with my recommendations, such as Alistair Knott, Bokor Leonard Emera, Guy Creasy, just to name a few. Or you can go to me. Either way, that's your choice. But whatever the price, I would recommend paying it. Because, like I said, what you pay for and what you seek, you get your money's worth. Because we don't fuck around. All right? Have a good day and a good night. And until next time.